Welcome to the Q1 Buck Poll. I'm Tim Hart with Mike Big Buck Hoffner. Well, on today's show, we're off to the Country Smokehouse up in Almont, and Mike, the cars were lined up down the parking lot, out the road, down the highway. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, they probably had a pretty good seasoning up in that area, would be my guess.
Yes, they did. We've got new bucks on this week's show, so Mike's going to feature some of our hunters that have been successful. We've got Chad Fedowa with us. He's going to talk about the Maple River game area and some of the different restoration and some of the work they're doing at this particular state game area.
I'm really excited about that. You know, they've really stepped to the plate, and it's more than just deer hunting that they're doing their renovations on up there. So I'm excited to hear their segment.
We also have Don Baxter from Hicks Outdoors. He's going to talk about your crossbows and how you wax them and how you don't wax certain areas of your string.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new form of hunting. People have really gotten into the crossbows. It's exploded out in the marketplace. But maintenance of a bow, maintenance of a crossbow, all require certain techniques to be done, and he's got some great tips for you.
And then we also have a couple successful hunters to round out the show here today. One being Anthony Very, and he is from the Kalamazoo area. I interviewed him at DNR Sports Center. Big fan of the show, so Anthony and your dad, Tony, we appreciate you watching.
Was it his first deer, Tim?
I'm not going to tell you. You have to wait and see.
Okay, I'll wait.
All right, for Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart, and you are watching the Q1 Buck Poll. Firekeepers Casino and Hotel present the Q1 Buck Poll. Back here on the Q1 Buck Poll. Well, Mike, it's time now for our feature Successful Bucks from around the state.
All right, let's start with Donald May from South Central Michigan with a 9-pointer, the score 49.5. Mitch Stanton from South Central Michigan, 9-pointer, the score 46. Joel Jepson again, South Central Michigan, 11-pointer, the score 49.75. And Shirley Ulrich from South Central Michigan, 11-pointer, the score 49.5.
One place that did not see a downturn in the number of deer being turned in, and that's the Country Smokehouse up in Almont. Steve Francis and I had a chance to talk. We took a helicopter ride and videoed a lot of the different area. We talked about the processing. And you know, Mike, they are the largest processor in the state of Michigan, and we're going to show you what they do.
I'll tell you what, it's unbelievable what they do. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be the guys on the other end, but they're hopefully making a lot of money because it takes a lot of time to process those deer, but they do a fantastic job.
We're at the Country Smokehouse with Steve Francis. And Steve, this is Sunday after opening day, and it is busy. The line goes all the way out. It's kind of like an assembly line here, isn't it?
Yeah, we try to get them in as quick as possible, get them in refrigerated trailers so that the animals won't spoil, the guys that, got fresh, warm ones and that, and we're taking them as fast as we can. We should bring about, we're hoping 500 in today, 510, somewhere in there.
Now, so people understand too, all the deer are tagged so that when I bring you my deer, I'm getting my deer back, right?
Yep, and that's what everybody has this myth out there switching. We weigh your deer properly so you know what the weight is. We tag the head, we tag the hide, we tag the meat. You have a number assigned to that thing. It goes inside the carcass, so everything is tagged, so there's no way it can be mixed up. It goes to the table, it looks at your cutting card, out the door, your cutting card, everything, we try to take the mistakes out.
And when we talk about the trailer, you got all kinds of trailers lined up. I had a chance to videotape. All the deer are all lined up in there, and so that way you keep it all separate. But what an operation. You got guys that are doing the weighing, they're doing the skinning. It's quite an operation here.
Yeah, we have 65 employees that come in now this time of year. We work 2 shifts out if we can. And just got to get them in. There's a short period of time to get them in here.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me about the Country Smokehouse. For people that are not familiar with what you do here, it is an enormous operation, and it's deer processing, of course, but there's a lot of other things that go along with that.
Yeah, we're the largest deer processor in Michigan. We started out in a 1-car garage. We make 140 different kinds of sausage between breakfast, brats, bologna, sausage, smoked ham, smoked pheasants, smoked rabbits. Just do a lot of unique different things. We're in the process of putting on 38,000 square foot more here. We just bought a grocery store over in Capac, Michigan. So we've been busy making things happen.
And we're going to make things happen with you. January 25th, we're inviting everybody to come on out to the Country Smokehouse and enjoy all kinds of fixins, but a great Q1 Buck Pull prize party.
Yep, we're looking forward to it. Should be a good time.
All right, Steve, thanks for being with us.
All right.
Back to work, my man.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'm Jim Hart. You're watching the Q1 Buck Pull, and you can see in the ring. Well, one of the things that I like about working with the DNR is I get a chance to learn about all the different state game areas, and I had a chance to talk to Chad Fedewa about the Maple River game area. And Mike, they're doing a lot of work in these areas to make it better for hunters, to make it better for people that just want to go out and enjoy the outdoors, bird watchers, and I think they're doing a great job in that.
Not everybody has private land, so the state's got to step in and help in some capacity, and so they're doing an awesome job, and we appreciate it.
Well, before I talk to Chad, it's time for new bucks here on the Q1 Buck Pull.
Let's start with Evan Klein from South Central Michigan, 14-pointer the score, 59. Jeff Richards from Southwest Michigan with a 13-pointer, the score 51.625. Then we had Rick Norrie from Southwest Michigan, 17-pointer, the score 51.625. And Brent Mayer up in the thumb, 15-pointer, the score 48 3/4.
Time now for our DNR segment, and today we talk to Chad Fedewa about the Maple River State Game Area. I'm now talking with Chad Fedewa. He is a wildlife biologist with the DNR. Chad, welcome to the Buck Pull.
Thanks for having me.
We're out at Maple River right now, and what a beautiful setting, first of all. And you guys do a lot of work out here, don't you?
We do. Right now we've got a lot of construction projects going on in the wetland unit. In 2010, we got a grant through the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative and have partnered with Ducks Unlimited to improve a lot of the wetland habitat we have here. And one of the main projects is we're putting in a new pump between units C and D, and as well as replacing a pump over by the freeway in Unit B. Another major change that's happened in those last few years is we've closed units C and D to hunting to create a seasonal wildlife refuge. The goal there is to hold ducks here more during the fall migration. It wasn't real uncommon in the past before the refuge was in place. The ducks would get pressured out of here that first week of hunting season, and the hunting opportunity kind of declined as the season went on. So over the last few years we've seen a real good benefit in birds staying on the game area longer during the fall season and improving that hunting opportunity later into the season.
All right, so we're talking about ducks, but what else can you hunt out here?
The Maple River State Game Area offers a wide variety of opportunity for hunting. We've got good deer habitat, good turkey habitat, of course a lot of waterfowl hunting opportunities, small game opportunities. The game area itself is over 9,000 acres, so there's a little bit of something for everybody out here.
Mm-hmm. And I take a look at this field there in front of us. You say that a lot of times that you guys plant corn. It's been a little bit too wet this year to do that, but you're also providing other food sources and other opportunities there for the wildlife?
Yeah, we try to plant some crops, especially here in the wetland unit. We try to get some crops on the ground, and we're actually able to flood those crops in the fall to provide some good food and cover for the ducks during the fall migration.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you using the water behind us going that way? Do you have a pump system? What do you do?
Yeah, the pump system for here is going to be a new pump system. We'll be able to put water in the unit behind us. This is the C unit, and we can drain water out of here. We can pump water into it. In front of us here is the D unit, and we can also, with that pump, do the same in that unit. So naturally the water flows from east to west, and we're able to, with the system of dikes and pumps, we're able to kind of manipulate the water level in our impoundments to our benefit.
All right, so as a wildlife biologist, you talked a little bit about the land and taking care of the wildlife. Are there other aspects of the job that you guys do out here that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, kind of the main duty of a biologist for a state game area is to plan for and create habitat for wildlife. So when we create that habitat, we're also creating opportunities for people to enjoy that wildlife, whether that's through a pair of binoculars, bird watching, or just out driving around looking for wildlife, or through hunting. So those areas, the state game areas, provide that opportunity for people to enjoy it. It improves the quality of life for people in the area. And also, in a lot of cases, our state game areas are destinations for people. So in turn, that helps the local economy a lot because people come to hunt and recreate on these game areas. They're also spending money in the local communities.
Well, one of the things I like, and as we were walking out, we were talking about is, you know, what a beautiful setting this is. And, you know, just walking out here and enjoying the sights that we have, you know, you talk about bird watchers, you talk about people that are non-hunters. These state game areas are awesome.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into creating that habitat and providing that opportunity for the public. And again, they're not just open to hunters, although that's a very large segment of the people we deal with on these areas, but they're open to anyone in the public.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys take suggestions from, you know, hunters or wildlife enthusiasts about what to do in certain areas?
Yeah, we get a lot of recommendations and a lot of comments on the things we do, and we do take that into consideration in our management plans. And a lot of times we will, for a certain game area, we'll set up a management plan, and we'll have a public comment period for people to have input in that, and or just a general phone call. I get those quite frequently of people who are out here using the area. Either they've got some compliments about what we're doing, or they've got some changes to suggest, and we take all that into consideration.
That sounds great. Well, you guys are doing a great job out here. What a beautiful setting out here at Maple River. Chad Fedua, wildlife biologist with the DNR, has been with us. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buckpole. Back here on the Q1 Buckpole, February the 7th is the date of our final prize party at the Firekeepers Casino and Hotel in Battle Creek. We're giving away our ATV. We've got muzzle loaders. We've got some crossbows. We've got all kinds of great prizes. And Mike, it is going to be a great night. We've got regional prize parties in January, and we're inviting you to all those. Go to q1buckpole.com for all the details.
I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of people that are excited. I've seen a lot of people on the streets that have asked me questions and excited about the new location, about going to Firekeepers.
All right, well, it's time now for featuring some of the successful hunters from around the state. New Bucks with Big Buck Hoffner.
Let's start with Jason White from mid-Michigan with a 10-pointer, the score 49 1/4. Emma Carey from southwest mid-Michigan, 15-pointer, the score 58 1/2. C.W. Liebrock from southwest Michigan with an 8-pointer, the score 51 1/2. And finally, Keith McClish from south central Michigan, 12-pointer, the score 51.
So as you're seeing, though, a lot of bigger bucks. We're talking about the 12-pointers, the 15-pointers. I talked to some of the other day, 18-pointers. So the bucks are there, maybe just not the quantity this year.
Probably not. You know, I spent a lot of time in the woods this year. The one thing that I did see that I was really encouraged is I passed on a lot of small bucks, Tim, so I let them all go. I'm hunting in an area where nobody else has permission to hunt, so I'm really excited about what I'm going to see next year.
Well, I cannot wait to see it with you.
I did well this year.
I know. Big Buck Hoffner went out without me and had great success. We'll talk about that not today, but in an upcoming show, that's for sure. Well, it's time now to talk to Anthony Very. He is out of the Kalamazoo area. He had great success this year. All excited. I had an interview with him at DNR Sports Center in Kalamazoo. We're at DNR Sports Center in Kalamazoo, and I have caught up with a successful hunter, Anthony Verhey. Anthony, welcome to the Q1 Buckpole.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you on here. Now, Anthony's an avid watcher of the show. He had great success this year. Tell me about your hunt.
Well, we got out there pretty nice and early. 8 o'clock rolled around and stuff, and my dad was seeing does. I was feeling a little sad about it because I was cold and everything. But
were you seeing any deer, or your dad was? Where were you in stands in relation to each other, or were you sitting next to each other?
We weren't sitting next to each other. We were about 60 yards apart.
All right, so he's seeing does. You're not seeing much.
Yeah, not seeing barely anything. Well, 8:30 rolled around, and we were talking about leaving, but also I looked over, and on the main path, I saw him standing there broadside looking me right in the hairy eyeball. I quickly got on the walkie-talkie, told my dad, we got to cut communication, I got a big buck on. He kept looking at me for about, another minute. He turned, started to walk around. I hollered at him, got him to stop. Turned broadside.
How'd you holler at him? Did you grunt it?
Well-
you yelled? You whistled?
Well,
There's a lot of techniques out
I
there.
grunted at him at first, but apparently he wasn't too impressed.
Okay.
So I gave a nice deep "hey" at him, and that got him to stop.
Okay. All
But,
right.
yeah, so he looked at me for one more second, and I let it go on him, and he did the classic mule kick in the air, took off. Well, my dad came out, we looked for first blood where I shot him, and found a little bit, but nothing too special, but I knew I hit him good.
Right.
Well, we followed the main trail for about 20 yards, and finally we found first blood, decent blood, and we found a chunk of ribs, so I felt pretty confident.
Right.
And we, all of a sudden at that point, I heard about 200 yards off, where in the direction he ran, the neighbors cut loose. And I thought for sure my buck was gone.
Heading over to them, they take a shot, and he's down.
It was looking like a bad Cinderella story. Well, we trailed it for about 50 more yards on blood, and sure enough, there he lays, all bellied out and everything. I got my hands on him. It was magical.
Now, who saw him first, you or your dad?
My dad, I'd have to say. He was at a better angle. He had to have seen it first.
So, pretty magical, and this is your first buck?
This is not my first buck. My first buck was at some point. This is my biggest buck hill by far.
Okay, so your biggest buck? Very well. Now, have you ever seen this deer before, where you guys hunt?
I'm thinking maybe so, because last year I saw a buck that had a little crooked on his antler, and he has a little bit of a crook, so I don't know if he just grew out of it a little bit, if it's the same buck or not. I'm not sure, but it's possible.
All right, so now we brought Dad in, Tony. So what did you think about the hunt and the recovery and your son's success this year?
He used the word magical. I'd have to agree. The youth hunt is a magical time for a father and his son, a mentor and a child, just to get out in the woods, teach him about the woods, get them inspired about what's going on in the world that they don't normally see. Like I said, when I heard his shot, you couldn't have played harps or guitars or anything to be any prettier music to me. It was just, I just like, yes, because we've practiced a lot, and I know if I hear his gun go bang, there's probably a gut pile at the end of the morning. Oh, yeah. And sure enough, we were right. Little dicey. When we didn't find first blood, I looked around, I'm like, man, I can't lose faith in my son. If you shot at this distance, you should have hit him. And when we did find it, the rib, yeah, that's a good sign, but you got to pick your angles, and we do that a lot with magazines on pictures. You know, just teaching him where would you shoot this and where would you shoot that one. So I figured he had the game figured out, and the neighbors opened up. Hey, that can happen to anybody, regardless of how good your shot is. I mean, we're on a small parcel, and if they can drop the animal and kill it, you wounded it, they killed it. In our book, anyway, it's their deer. But such was not the case. He did, in fact, make a fine shot, gutting the animal. We're always curious to see the bullet path to make sure we're doing things right. We're there to kill the animal, not hurt him. And there's a difference. And the neighbors apparently spray and pray philosophy. That works for them, so be it. We'll never be that kind of people. We try to harvest the animal how we'd like to be harvested ourselves. And he lived up to that. We gutted him out, perfect shot. The heart's in 4 pieces. Friends of mine like to eat the heart. Well, they're going to have a stew instead of a roast. And yeah, but that was a beautiful way for that buck to hit the ground, as well as for it to hit our wall.
Well, and a great story. And you know, you had a taxidermist that donated the mount.
We did. Driftwood Taxidermy. The Britons caped it out for us. The Britons do a deer processing business. Andy Nix is a friend of mine from the fire department years gone by.
Friend of mine from AYSO
that's
Soccer.
How we ended up being here. He said, "Oh, I know that guy." I said, "You know the Hitman? Well, could you possibly?" And
Not so sure I've ever been called the Hitman, but I am now, huh?
tell you what,
I am now. How about that?
A boy and a father's dream come true for sure.
All right, Tony Anthony Verhey here on the Q1 Buck Poll. You know, it's always fun to talk to young hunters who are excited. They love being in the outdoors. They love going out hunting with their dad or mom. It's just fun talking to those guys.
They're great stories, and I'll tell you, it's a passionate sport, Tim. These people are passionate about what they do, because if they're not excited about doing it, they wouldn't be hunting. But people love to hunt, and I love the passion that they display.
All right, if you're taking your crossbow out, a lot of people went out in the early season with their crossbows. If you're going out with your crossbow now, there's certain tips and techniques of keeping your strings lubed, but not in the wrong spots. I had a chance to talk to Don Baxter. Here's your Hicks Outdoors tip of the week about crossbows.
Hi, I'm Don Baxter, and I'm going to give you a tech tip on lubricating and waxing your crossbow. First, you just put barely a drop on your crossbow. You lubricate it all the way up, all the way back, to where the drops off at the trigger, and you do this on both sides. You lubricate it all the way up, all the way back, just a touch in the front, and one drop pretty much will do both sides of your rail. Waxing, you do never put wax on a crossbow because it'll gum your trigger up. What you do is you put a little bit of wax on your string. Do not put the wax on your serving. The reason we don't put wax on the center serving is because it'll get in the rail and gum up your trigger, and then your trigger will gum up and not work. So we're going to put a little bit of wax on your cables, and then we just smooth it in. This will keep your strings lasting a long time, longevity, instead of fraying and coming apart. And that's your crossbow tech tip.
Always great information from our sponsors out there. Hicks Outdoors, located in Clio. We've got a few more tips coming up in the next couple of weeks. And, Mike, when people get a chance, stop into some of the sponsors, talk to them, take your deer, your buck, or your doe. You've got until December 31st to register your deer. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, because when we give away that ATV, you got to be present to win, and it is a fabulous prize.
Well, that's my tip of the year. Get out and support the sponsors because they support what we do. And if it weren't for them, you guys wouldn't get the opportunity to take advantage of all the marvelous gifts that we're giving away this year.
And one of them, of course, the ATV, a Yamaha Grizzly 350 ATV from Custom Connection Motorsports in Battle Creek, and that's happening February 7th at Firekeepers Casino and Hotel. Incidentally, we've got some cooking segments in the next couple of weeks coming up with some of the chefs at Firekeepers, and the recipes are delicious.
We haven't had any this year, but I was waiting for them, Tim, because I just picked mine up last week, so I'm ready to try out one of those new recipes.
Well, we wanted to kind of wait till everybody had their deer processed.
Exactly.
And now you've got your deer processed. Now we're going to tell you how to cook that venison.
You're the man.
You got it. All right, for Mike Big Buck Hoffner, I'm Tim Hart. Thanks for being with us this week on the Q1 Buck Poll. Remember, Q1buckpoll.com to get all the information about what's happening. Whenever you're out in the woods, make sure you're safe. You know what, Daryl? Maybe at the end of the show you should do about 5. I tell you what. I'm Big Buck Huffer. I tell you what.
Guess what? That was certainly not a man. It was not a manly sneeze. I can tell you that.